All right, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us here at Charleston for this session, Expanding Archives Access in AI, Supporting Impactful Research, Teaching, and Discovery. I'm Jody Johnson. I'm Product Marketing Manager for ProQuest Digital Collections.
And I'm Nathalie Duval, Senior Director of Product Management for ProQuest Digital Collections.
And today we are going to explore trends from our 2025 holdings analysis, adoption insights across budget tiers and institution types, portfolio growth, including new content in 2025, and a preview of what's coming in 2026. And we're going to talk about AI-powered tools and platform innovations that are designed for usability and engagement. Thank you. So, why do breadth and depth matter? As disciplines evolve, so do expectation for content that supports interdisciplinary studies. Whether supporting global history, media studies, literature, or entertainment and popular culture, patrons expect content that is both broad and deep. Breadth ensures that the content remains relevant for a wide range of programs and research interests. Depth provides the archival richness that enables the original scholarship, and it bolsters institutional reputation. So to better understand how libraries are investing, Clarivate conducted a holdings analysis of more than 170 academic institutions. These spanned classifications and budget tiers. The analysis looked at percentage of content types, such as aggregated collections, periodicals, multimedia, primary sources, and others, things that are represented in the library holdings. And the key finding is that aggregated, curated digital collections remain the most consistently supported content investment across all tiers. In this chart, this is shown in the light blue at the bottom of the screen, the largest part of the bar charts. This approach delivers scalable value, predictable spending, broad coverage, and regardless of institutional size or budget. As budgets grow, and that's moving from left to right, we can see increased investment in archival depth, especially in primary sources and reference material. Those are seen at the two greens near the top. There. Aggregated content, though, remains the core, and that's seen at the bottom. So overall, what does the pattern here suggest? It suggests that while foundational aggregated collections are prioritized everywhere, institutions with larger budgets supplement it with more specialized resources, such as archives and reference material. Obviously, I think we all knew this. So why are we here talking with you about that today, something that you probably already knew? It's because with our new framework that we introduced this year, ProQuest Digital Collections helps you get more of that rainbow content, more primary sources, more multimedia, more reference and journals in that light blue area that libraries are already invested in. This year, we introduced 5 core ProQuest subscription products as part of a new streamlined content strategy. Each of these offerings is built on shared principles. You can see them along the bottom of the screen. Academic AI, curriculum alignment, multi-format content, and community collaboration, which is so important for us. Together, they deliver value through platform enhancements and continuously growing content. So from left to right in this framework, you'll see our ebooks portfolio, ProQuest One Academic Premium, ProQuest Digital Collections in the center, which is what we will focus on, news and newspapers, and ProQuest government documents. And while we are focused on the center today, I want to emphasize that all of the 3 pillars on the right offer valuable primary sources. And when they're used together, they complement each other, and they provide researchers and students with a more complete understanding of historical events and of scholarly topics. The one in the center, ProQuest Digital Collections, this shows how it is broken out in the framework. It offers 3 levels of access to fit institutional needs. So the largest offering that we see in the large bar, ProQuest Digital Collections, that is comprehensive access to the full subscription. Then in the middle, there are 9 discipline-aligned packages. So you can see that these align with core disciplines like history, literature, performing arts, and also fast-growing disciplines, interdisciplinary fields like entertainment and popular culture, and also global studies and international relations. And then in the light blue to the right side of the screen, there are smaller, more targeted offerings that are nested under these disciplines. And these include things like the U.S. History Collection and the Fashion Studies Collection. This simplified portfolio is clear. It's easy to understand. It has a shortened list of products. You may have looked at our product list before and have seen that it is quite extensive. So this offers something easier to understand that is aligned to these key curriculum areas.
So together, this framework represents more than 400 primary source collections, including our flagship products like embedded in library holdings and academic studies, like early English books online, American periodical series, History Vault, Digital National Security Archive, or Women and Social Movement. This content has impacted researchers and learners globally. These users tell us that it has made a difference in their success, and we can see this in citations, references, in journals, and in books.
And we are seeing more visibility online in library A to Z collections as this resource has been adopted. On the left side of the screen right now, we are seeing results that surfaced from a quick Google search for ProQuest digital collections. And you can see how libraries are starting to surface this online. Rutgers University, who's of course a major R1 public research university, they have a large, complex library system. So even the largest, most resource-intensive institutions see value in a bundled, scalable approach. And also Middle Tennessee State University, that is my alma mater. While not as large as Rutgers, it is a significant public university, and their adoption highlights that ProQuest Digital Collections is not just for top tier, it is accessible, it is attractive to mid-sized institutions as well. And while not on the screen, we have recently seen adoption at Ariel University in Israel, a smaller, non-flagship institution, and an example of how this is being adopted on an international scale. Now, I do want to emphasize on the right side of the screen the article that the University of Kansas has published. This is another example of large-scale adoption. Their article describes this as a once-in-a-generation expansion in digital access. It explains that their adoption was designed to align with institutional goals around student engagement, research skills development, and scalable access to materials that were previously siloed or inaccessible. And I would like to clarify that this was not a ProQuest sponsored article. We did not pay them to write that, so we were delighted when we saw that pop up.
Yeah, and this article raised important points that are enduring with primary sources. The accessibility barriers and financial constraints, especially for less funded institutions, traveling to archives was and is difficult and expensive. Much archival content was traditionally not available physically and in the archive or on microfilm. There is also the misconception about availability. Students go to Google and are used to instant answers and assume that everything is available there. And this quote from Carol Smith, again at Kansas University, captured the educational value of investing in primary source content and how it can result in student success and engagement by building authentic research skills.
And as we talk about those barriers in the article that we were quoting, Sarah Morris did share a personal anecdote in the story about staying in what she called a sketchy hotel and subsiding on peanut butter and jelly for 2 weeks in order to have the funds in order to pursue her research.
So last year I was in the same room with Susan Bokern, and we gave a preview of the 2025 roadmap, and it has come to fruition. We expanded across every discipline with new archives and ongoing content updates. Highlights include Le Film Français and major additions to performing arts. We've also added new modules to Early Modern Collection, the Digital National Security Archive, and History Vault. Monthly updates to marquee magazine archives like Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, Miss Magazine, and Women's Wear Daily ensure our content remains fresh and relevant.
And that was this year, but we are also very excited to give you a preview of what's coming next year in our primary sources roadmap.
Yeah, and this roadmap features even more interdisciplinary growth. We do want to bring the most valuable content to each discipline, including more international content like Illustrated Weekly of India or Women's Magazine Archive, focused on international magazines, titles that support film studies, like the Daily Variety Archive, or disability studies and peace studies. We're adding again new content to early modern collection and historical periodicals, plus ongoing updates to ProQuest One Black Studies, performing arts, and literature. So what's important is that ProQuest digital collection is continuously growing and with content that is added to support expanding scholarly needs. So we're happy to share this slide if you are interested in exploring it at the end. But this new framework is not just about content. It is also about how to experience this content. And Jody will now delve into our platform enhancements.
So we did poll you at the very beginning for the people who were here a little early, and we asked who are interested in archives and who are interested in AI. And now we're going to talk about a few of the examples of how we are using AI-powered technology in the archives in order to support research, teaching, and learning. We know that primary sources are essential for original scholarship, but they can be challenging. They can be lengthy. They can be older in language, sometimes handwritten. They may be in a foreign language. AI can help us reduce these barriers while preserving the integrity of the materials. So one example that we're showing is ProQuest Research Assistant, which uses AI to tackle common challenges faced by students and researchers. It helps them create more effective searches, evaluate documents more quickly, and engage with content more deeply and more efficiently. And here we're showing the two main paths for Research Assistant, starting on a document and starting with a search. On the left-hand side of the screen, this example comes from ProQuest One Black Studies and starting with a search. You can see that it provides key takeaways on the right-hand side of the screen. This allows for faster comprehension. That was starting with a document. On the right-hand side of the screen, starting with a search, that example comes from ProQuest One Literature, and you can see highlighted at the top of the screen how that allows for Boolean searches with just a single click. So it is giving examples of how this tool saves time and improves precision. This year, Research Assistant also introduced Chat with Document, and this has been the most requested feature for our AI capabilities. Researchers can now interrogate a document. They can interact directly with the full text of a document, not just with pre-selected summaries. Researchers can ask specific, nuanced questions that require deep knowledge of the text or of the historical context. So, for example, here is an example from the Early English Books Online, part of the Early Modern collection. And this specific text, this illustrates how religious authority and state power have traditionally influenced politics and how there's been tension between transnational influence. So if we were to question this document, we would expect it to have a deep understanding of the historical context. So a user may choose to ask, how does this construct the Jesuit order as a transnational political threat to English sovereignty? So it would require deep familiarity with the Restoration political theology and also the anti-Catholic propaganda of that time. Would you mind going to the next slide?
Sure.
Thank you, Nathan. So this answer that we are receiving shows that depth of knowledge. It also shows that it is rooted in the text of the document. The answers are based solely on the document's content. There is no external sources. So this provides a direct source-based response, and it's evident in the response with things like the document, the text explains, the author describes. So it's important to note that transparency around the source for this information. And this capability for Chat with Document also supports over 100 languages. So another way that we're making content accessible through AI. Another example of how we are using AI technology is found in History Vault. This is using handwritten text recognition. So it uses AI-powered technology to convert handwritten text into machine-readable text, making it much easier for users to search and decipher the text and to navigate more easily through the document. And then a third very exciting way of how we are using AI technology was just launched this year in ProQuest One Entertainment and Popular Culture. AI-powered French to English language translations were introduced with the archival digitization of Le Film Français, and that just launched in September. So very exciting. This tool sets a precedent for future foreign language archival translations, and it's a way to make this archival content more accessible to a wider, non-French speaking audience. Now, we do have a commitment in this space towards responsible AI and making this transparency. So disclaimers on the screen. Would you go back one?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. This makes it clear to users that they are using content that has been translated by AI, not a human expert. This disclaimer signals to users that the translation may not be perfect. It encourages them to consult the original language if precision is critical. But we have heard feedback on these specific translations that they are very good, and they even include language that is regional and specific to certain dialects and regions in France. So we're very excited. We hope that you will check this out and let us know. The info icons and disclaimers on the screen, though, they do allow users to make informed decisions about how they use this translated content. Thank you. Thanks for driving. And lastly, another great way that we are harnessing AI technology is through TDM Studio. Text and data mining allows scholars to uncover patterns and insights from large historical collections in ways that traditional search does not allow. For coders, this means full flexibility. APIs, Python, R tools that allow them to build custom workflows. I am not a coder. I do not know what those words mean. But this view is showing data sets that are ready for Jupyter Notebook. And when people talk about text and data mining, most people think about coders and that it's for coders. And that is a very large part of it. However, there's also lots of wins here for non-coders. Non-coders can export this same metadata. You go to the next one, I think it shows me that. So you can see this red box with the arrow. That's where we would export that same metadata sets that are being used in Jupyter, and you can use these in Excel and Google and start analyzing immediately. So on the bottom example that we see here of parades in Southern life and African American history, this comes from the History Vault archival set. We could download that metadata set from our set and go right into the metadata and start analyzing it in Excel. Would you show an example of that? And this is what that metadata export would look like from the History Vault digitized archive. I'd love to see that you're taking pictures of that. Makes me so happy. Non-coders can also use the visualization dashboard that is built into TDM Studio for advanced analysis. And you can see the three groups on the right side of the screen: geographic analysis, topic modeling, and sentiment analysis. And that's just as easy as getting your data set and then clicking one of those tools. So the transition to the new procurement models is delivering real benefits for patrons. But we do realize that these products have their own set of challenges. As Natalie mentioned earlier, this is bringing together more than 400 collections under this one umbrella. So as this quote underscores, ensuring that the materials remain available and discoverable does require significant expertise. And the quote says, librarians are the key to effective use and access of the resources. And we realize that. And we're actively working to support libraries and librarians and staff in several concrete ways. There are dedicated support pages that provide step-by-step instructions for A to Z listing and discovery activation. And we do put the link up there. Let us know. We'd be happy to share that later with you as well. There are ongoing webinars, roadmap updates, and direct communications that can help staff stay ahead of changes and learn about what's new and features. One way that we announce that is through our What's New pages in the ProQuest support portal. These pages list the new content additions as they come into ProQuest digital collections. It also covers the underlying ProQuest One products, so ProQuest One Literature, ProQuest One History, ProQuest One Performing Arts, and so forth. There are 9 under ProQuest digital collections. You can see updates not just for the large umbrella, but also for those underlying nestled components. And it includes a downloadable spreadsheet for easy tracking and recording of the new content by discipline, by collection, by product, and it makes it easy to share with your staff. This resource of the What's New page, the LibGuide pages, the A to Z pages, they are designed for librarians to share, to quickly see what's going on, and to help support them in these areas. Make it easier for us and you to communicate the value of these offerings. Lastly, there is a dedicated LibGuide page. This resource provides helpful links and training materials. It is curated by our customer support team, makes it easier to find answers. So we encourage you to explore these resources.
So before opening the floor to questions, we wanted to end on another quote from Carol Smith at Kansas University that demonstrates our primary sources support impactful research, teaching, and discovery.
And this is where the headline from the article comes from. This truly is a once-in-a-generation expansion for KU libraries. It opens the door for every Jayhawk to work more directly and frequently with primary sources, and this hands-on digital engagement will shape and spark KU scholarship for years to come. I can't wait to see what our students and faculty discover and how they apply it. It's so powerful. So we would love to open the floor now. What kind of questions do you have about what we've presented? Is there anything that we could make clearer?